The night is dark. The air carries a chill, and something uneasy stirs in your chest. Far away, a faint sounds, like an old door slowly creaking open. Get ready, because this is Spooky Tales, the stories that steal your sleep and make the night feel endless. Turn off the lights, turn up the volume, and listen closely. It was a long summer night somewhere in northern Texas, the kind of night where the heat sticks to your skin and the road hums like it's alive beneath you. 4 friends, Evan, Cassie, Jake, and Maya, were driving back from a music festival, tired, broke, and desperate to get home. Evan was behind the wheel, eyes heavy, the radio playing low country songs that barely came through the static. He didn't even notice when the GPS line turned from blue to gray, when the soft asphalt under the tires turned rough, and the smooth highway gave way to gravel. They were on an old, unmarked road, swallowed by woods that seemed to lean closer with every mile. Kathy was the first to speak. "This doesn't look right," she said, leaning forward from the back seat. "Are we lost?" Evan gave a half laugh. "Relax, it's a shortcut. We'll hit the highway again in no time." But the deeper they drove, the quieter it got. The music faded to static, the air outside turned strangely cold, and when Evan wiped the windshield, his hand came away damp. There hadn't been any rain for weeks. The air smelled like wet dirt and rust. Then, just as suddenly as the silence came, the car's engine began to sputter. Evan pressed the gas, but the needle dropped to 0. The headlights dimmed. The car rolled to a slow stop on the side of the road. "Great," Jake muttered. "Out of gas?" "No," Evan said, shaking his head. "It just died." They sat in silence for a few seconds, listening to the engine tick in the dark. Then they saw it, through the trees, maybe 100 yards ahead, a porch light. The warm glow of a house sitting alone in the woods, with a faint white sign just visible on the road beside it. Cassie squinted at the letters. She read, "Red Hill." Where the hell is that? Nobody knew. Evan got out first. "Come on, maybe they've got a phone." Cassie hesitated, but Maya followed. The gravel crunched beneath their shoes as they walked toward the light. The closer they got, the stranger the house looked. The paint was peeling in long strips, the windows fogged from the inside. The porch boards sagged beneath their weight. Evan knocked once. The sound echoed. No answer. He knocked again, louder this time, and after a few seconds, the door creaked open. A man stood there, pale, middle-aged, wearing a brown suit that looked like it belonged in an old photograph. He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "Evenin'," he said. "You kids lost?" "Our car broke down," Evan replied. "Just need to use a phone, if that's all right." The man nodded slowly. "Phone's in the kitchen. Come on in." Inside, the house smelled of dust and candle wax. Every surface was covered in old photos, families dressed in clothes from the 1920s or 30s. None of the faces looked happy. Some didn't even look human. Cassie stopped by one of the portraits. "Evan," she whispered, "doesn't this look like..." Before she could finish, the man spoke again, his voice closer now. "Phone's right through there." Evan picked up the receiver. It was an old rotary phone, the kind no one used anymore. He dialed roadside assistance, no dial tone, just a faint hiss. He tried again. Nothing. The man leaned against the doorway, still smiling. "Line's been down for a while." Jake crossed his arms. "What about cell service?" The man tilted his head. "Don't get much of that out here." The way he said it made Kathy's skin crawl. "Thanks anyway." Evan said. "We'll just head back to the car." But as they turned to leave, the man said something that froze them in place. "You folks already been here once tonight." Evan frowned. No, sir. First time." The man smiled wider. "No. You knocked, same as before. Asked to use the phone. Said your car broke down. You've done all this before." He stepped closer. "Funny thing is, you didn't leave last time either." A chill ran through the room. Evan reached for the door, but it wouldn't move. Locked. Kathy whispered, "What's happening?" The man's voice changed, slower, lower, like it was coming from the walls themselves. "I told you. You don't leave once you come here." The lights flickered. The air grew thick. And then Cassie noticed something. The photos on the walls. They weren't old anymore. Each one showed the four of them standing on the porch outside, pale, stiff, dead-eyed. Jake cursed and grabbed Evan's arm. "We're leaving." They ran down the hall, but every door led to the same room, the kitchen, over and over. No matter which way they turned, the house twisted back in on itself. Then the phone rang. A loud, shrill sound that echoed through every wall. Evan picked it up, shaking. "Hello?" A voice answered, soft, panicked. "Don't hang up. Listen carefully." Evan froze. The voice on the line was his own. "You've been here before. This is how it ends every time. You have to burn it. Burn the house." "Who is this? Oh, what are you talking about?" But the line went dead. When he turned around, the man was gone. Only his voice lingered through the halls. "You can't change what's already happened." They ran out the front door. The porch light flickered, turning from yellow to blood red. Their car was sitting where they'd left it, headlights on, doors open. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat. Evan ran toward it, shouting, "Hey!" The person inside turned their head. It was him. Same clothes, same face, same scratch on his cheek. Only this version was pale, glassy-eyed, like he'd been dead for days. The double spoke first. "You shouldn't have come back." The headlights went out. Everything went black. Cassie screamed his name, but there was no answer. When the lights came back on, Evan was gone. Just gone. His car key lay in the dirt, still warm to the touch. Jake grabbed it and jumped into the driver's seat. He yelled, "Get in now!" They tore down the road, tires screaming, trees whipping past. But no matter how far they drove, the same white sign kept reappearing on the roadside. "Welcome to Red Hill." Again and again and again. Cassie started crying. "Please, just stop." Jake slammed on the brakes. The car spun and came to a rest in a cloud of dust. When it cleared, the house was right there again. Same porch, same flickering light. The door creaked open. Evan was standing there, smiling. After that, no one knows what happened. By morning, a state trooper found their car abandoned on a side of an old service road that hadn't been used in 30 years. The keys were still in the ignition. The engine was cold. No footprints. No bodies. Just the faint smell of smoke in the air and a patch of scorched earth where the house used to be. Some say that if you drive that way late at night, your GPS might still try to take you there, to Route 77, to Red Hill. And if you see a house with its porch light burning in the dark, no matter how lost you are, don't stop. Because some houses remember every soul that ever walked through their door, and some lights aren't meant to guide you home.
There's something about mirrors. Everyone looks into them every day, but no one really thinks about what they're looking into. Some say a mirror is just a reflection. Others say it's a window. And some say it's a doorway. Emma lived alone in a small apartment in the city. It wasn't fancy, but it was hers, and she liked the quiet. Nights were usually empty, quiet enough that the hum of her refrigerator felt loud. She worked long hours at a bookstore and came home tired, slipping off her shoes and letting the apartment swallow her in its silence. It started on a Tuesday. She was brushing her hair in front of her bathroom mirror, scrolling absent-mindedly through her phone. A FaceTime notification appeared. She frowned. She didn't recognize the number. She tapped it. Her own face appeared on the screen. She froze, staring at herself. Her mouth moved, but her reflection on the call was smiling. Not a normal smile, a slow, crooked grin, like it was watching her. Emma blinked. "Hello?" she whispered. The reflection didn't speak. It just tilted its head, eyes wide, unnervingly focused. Then the call ended. She laughed nervously, convincing herself it was some weird glitch. Maybe someone had hacked the FaceTime app as a joke. She shook it off, even as a shiver ran down her spine. The next night, the same thing happened. Same unknown number, same call. She hesitated before answering, heart thudding. She swiped and there it was again. Her own face on the screen, but this time the reflection was holding up a finger to its lips, shushing her. Emma's hand trembled. She laughed, trying to convince herself it was nothing. Her apartment was quiet, too quiet, but she told herself it was just her imagination. She set the phone down and went to bed, pulling the blanket tight around her shoulders. By the third night, the calls came again. Only now, the reflection wasn't in her apartment. It was outside her window, peering in. She froze, phone shaking in her hand, staring at the screen as her own reflection smiled at her, a knowing, twisted grin, and whispered something she couldn't quite hear. Her breathing quickened. She backed away, her heart hammering, tripping over the rug. The reflection pressed a hand against the glass of the phone screen as if it was reaching for her, and the call ended abruptly. Her apartment felt impossibly cold, and she realized the radiator hadn't even been on. For days, she avoided mirrors. She covered the bathroom mirror with a towel and even draped a sheet over the full-length mirror in her bedroom. But it didn't matter. The calls kept coming, every night at the same time. 11:47. Always her face on the screen, always doing something she hadn't done yet, like warning her, showing her fragments of the future she hadn't lived yet. One night, she hesitated before answering. The reflection was different this time. She was wearing her pajamas, yes, but her own reflection's eyes were hollow, darker than they had ever been. And it was crying, tears streaming down its face, but no sound came out. The lips moved silently, forming words she couldn't hear. Emma touched the phone screen, her fingers trembling. The reflection suddenly leaned closer, too close, as if it was going to crawl through the glass. She stumbled back, knocking the phone to the floor. The screen shattered. Her own face on the shards looked up at her, smiling, and she realized with horror it hadn't blinked once. The days that followed were worse. She stopped sleeping, stopped leaving her apartment. The reflection found her even when the screens were off. One night, she caught it in the cracked corner of a mirror in the hallway. It was moving independently, grinning wider than humanly possible. It mimicked my movements with a slight delay, and yet it wasn't quite her. Not quite alive, not quite dead. Emma started keeping her lights on, letting no shadow go unnoticed. But every night, no matter how she hid, the FaceTime notifications came. She answered once more, desperate for an explanation. The reflection held up a small black box. She recognized it instantly. The music box her grandmother had given her years ago, the one that she had buried in her closet after it broke. The reflection wound it up, and even through the screen, Emma could hear the haunting melody playing. But something was wrong. The music wasn't just coming from the phone, it was echoing in her apartment, behind her. She spun around, no one there. She looked back at the screen. The reflection's grin widened. The eyes, they weren't hers. Then the reflection raised a finger to its lips, shushing her again, and in a voice that wasn't quite hers, whispered, "It's time." Her heart stopped. She backed away, her hands shaking, trying to leave the room, but the hallway seemed longer than it should have been. The door at the end, her exit stretched impossibly into darkness. Her phone vibrated again. Another FaceTime call. Same number, same reflection. This time the reflection did something new. It mouthed words silently, and Emma's mind filled in the meaning. "You will be next." The air grew heavy. She stumbled to the bathroom, flicked on the lights, and froze. Her own reflection in the mirror was still there, smiling, watching her. But it wasn't mirroring her movements. It was anticipating them. Every twitch, every blink, every shiver. She backed away slowly, the reflection's hand pressed against the glass as if to reach her. Turned to run, but the phone rang again. She had no choice. She picked it up, trembling, holding it in front of her like a shield. The reflection's lips moved clearly this time, saying, "Look behind you." Her blood ran cold. She slowly, almost hypnotically, turned. The bathroom was empty. The mirror hung silently. The lights flickered, and then she saw it. In the mirror, behind her, a shadow that was not hers, just for a split second, moving closer, always closer. She spun around. Nothing. Her phone vibrated violently. She dropped it. It landed face up, screen on, and there she was. But she wasn't smiling anymore. Her eyes were wide, terrified. Blood trickled from her nose, and just for a moment, the reflection moved independent of her. It waved, beckoning her towards it. Emma screamed. She ran into her bedroom, slammed the door, locked it, and collapsed against it, panting. The phone was on the floor outside the door, screen lighting up her darkened apartment. Another FaceTime call. Another message. It's time. The shadows in the room stretched unnaturally, corners deepening into blackness. She felt cold breath on her neck, hair standing on end, every nerve screaming. The reflection in the phone no longer looked like her. It looked hungry, smiling, silent, waiting. Emma tried to smash the phone, but as she swung it against the wall, it vanished. Just gone. And in its place, The screen lit up on the bathroom mirror. Her own face stared back at her, but behind it, movement. Something waiting, something patient. Hours passed, days maybe. Time didn't make sense anymore. The reflection continued to call. She answered mechanically. The reflection no longer mimicked her. It lived. It breathed. It smiled, always smiling, and every night it showed her flashes of the future, small fragments, things she hadn't lived yet. Then one night, the reflection showed her herself lying on the floor, eyes open wide, her neck twisted at an impossible angle. Blood pooled around her head, and the reflection grinned. Emma didn't answer the phone this time. She locked every door. She covered every mirror with sheets and towels. She ran from room to room. She screamed. The reflection appeared everywhere, behind glass, behind shadows, in her dreams, always watching, always waiting. She didn't know how long she lasted. The next morning, her apartment was silent, too silent. Every mirror was shattered, the phone was gone, and in the cracked bathroom mirror, just a smudge of fogged glass remained, a smudge of a smile that wasn't hers. Some say that if you live alone and your phone rings at 11:47, you shouldn't answer. And if your own face appears on the screen, smiling at you, you should run. Because the reflection isn't just a reflection. It's patient. It's hungry. It knows what you're